Following our series of comparison reviews between devices released in the first half of the year, we are back yet again for another. What up guys, Mikael here from Tech, and in this video, we have some crowd favorites duking it out with the Nothing Phone 2a and the TECNO Pova 6 Pro. Both devices are positioned to offer compelling features at budgets less than 20,000 pesos, with the TECNO Pova 6 Pro clearly the more affordable underdog in this matchup. So, let's find out if it can even hang with Nothing's most affordable handset to date. Starting off with design and construction. The Nothing Phone 2a sticks to its roots with its teenage engineering-inspired design aesthetic. It features glyph lighting at the rear that utilizes 1, 2, 3 LEDs that users can use for notifications, volume indication when changing the volume level, music visualization, and even a diffused fill light when using the cameras. But wait! The TECNO Pova 6 Pro also features some dynamic lighting at the rear. It has almost the exact same use cases minus a few, like using it as a fill light for taking photos since it doesn't get as bright. To be honest, the rear panels of these two are quite similar. They both have that open back looking aesthetic colored in whatever colorway you get them in. The Nothing Phone 2a is available in black or white, and the Pova 6 Pro is available in this comet green or meteorite gray. Both phones' clear rears are made of plastic, and the frames of both phones are also made of plastic. In front is where real glass is utilized to protect their respective AMOLED display panels. The Nothing Phone 2a features Corning Gorilla Glass 5 protection, while TECNO hasn't specified any specific glass protection layer if there is any. All in all, both devices feel as solid as each other in my hands, with more points here going to the more intentional, well-crafted feeling Nothing Phone 2a. Some may even argue that the TECNO Pova 6 Pro's design that came from last year's Pova 5 Pro took inspiration from the first Nothing Phone and maybe even the ROG Phone series. Either way, the Nothing Phone 2a takes the round for build. For their displays, both phones feature Full HD Plus AMOLED panels that feature 120Hz adaptive refresh rates, and both have a peak brightness of 1300 nits. Although, the display spec similarities sort of end there. The Nothing Phone 2a's panel also features more color accuracy and HDR10 Plus support. How does this translate in real-world use? Well, it's a little odd. Yes, the Nothing Phone 2a's color gamut does seem wider. We can tell by playing the same video on each phone at the same time side by side. Something odd we found was that depending on what we were playing on YouTube, the Nothing Phone 2a and the TECNO Pova 6 Pro had varying max resolution outputs. Most of the time, the Nothing Phone 2a could get access to higher resolutions like with our very own 4K YouTube uploads, but sometimes the Pova 6 Pro could max out higher when playing music videos. My theory as to why this is the format the videos are in. Widescreen format videos on YouTube or videos with a 21:9 aspect ratio allow the Pova 6 Pro to achieve higher resolutions compared to the Nothing Phone 2a's preference for 16:9. As for audio playback, both devices feature dual stereo speakers. They sound similar and can match in loudness, although the Nothing Phone 2a's stereo system takes the lead here for better clarity in its soundstage with a more prominent bass output. Another thing to note for display is that both panels are dynamic, but the Nothing Phone 2a's refresh rate can only be manually set to 120 or 60 Hz, while the TECNO Pova 6 Pro gives users an in-between option at 90 Hz, apart from 120 or 60. So for display, I was going to say it's a tie, but because of the better auditory experience, HDR10 Plus support, and the wider color gamut, we have to go with the Nothing Phone 2a. For performance, both phones are powered by MediaTek Dimensity series chipsets. The Nothing Phone 2a utilizes a Dimensity 7200 Pro, a 4nm chipset that features an octa-core processor capable of up to 2.8 GHz clock speeds and paired with a Mali G610 MC4 GPU. On the other hand, the TECNO Pova 6 Pro features a Dimensity 6080, a 6nm chipset that debuted within the same year that also features an octa-core processor, but this time only capable of up to 2.4 GHz clock speeds and paired with a Mali G57 MC2 GPU. For configs, locally the Nothing Phone 2a is available with either 8 or 12 GB of LPDDR5 memory and 128 or 256 gigabytes of UFS 3.1 storage, respectively. While the TECNO Pova 6 Pro only gets one official configuration locally at 12 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of internal storage. With that said, let's first check out some benchmark scores between the two, flashing them on screen. Now, across the board, when it comes to synthetic benchmark scores, the Nothing Phone 2a is the clear winner, which would have been surprising if not, because, it has a more powerful chipset in the first place. Oh, and by the way, our Nothing Phone 2a review unit is the 12 gigabytes of RAM configuration, for those wondering. But when it came to real-world use, both phones actually deliver similar performance. They run most apps we threw at it. None of our usual benchmark scores bugged out because, well, I'm pointing that out because other phones actually do bug out with certain benchmarks, which does point to some good decisions when it came to software optimization. Both devices even feature vapor chambers for improved thermals for prolonged use. Although, when playing more demanding titles like Genshin Impact, both phones still do noticeably warm up after long sessions. And the rise in temperatures is a bit more noticeable on the Nothing Phone 2a, possibly because of the smaller dimensions and thinner profile, wherein the Pova 6 Pro does feel a lot more warm to the touch after a gaming session, meaning like its max temp does feel hotter. But this thing warms up faster. There wasn't too much of a noticeable difference between the two when it came to multitasking and switching between open applications. But the Nothing Phone 2a's more impressive memory and storage allowed for faster download and install times across the board on the same internet connection, giving the Nothing Phone 2a the win once again in this performance segment. For optics, the Nothing Phone 2a gets a dual camera setup at the rear, headlined by a 50-megapixel main sensor paired with a 50-megapixel ultrawide. The TECNO Pova 6 Pro, on the other hand, gets a triple camera system. It features a 108-megapixel sensor as its main camera, paired with a 2-megapixel depth sensor and another 0.08 AI camera sensor that also provides additional depth information. The main sensor on the Nothing Phone 2a gets phase detection autofocus and optical image stabilization, while the bigger megapixel sensor on the Pova 6 Pro only features phase detection autofocus. In front, both devices feature a 32-megapixel camera for selfies. The TECNO Pova 6 Pro even gets a cool hidden front LED flash too. Going into some sample photos, right off the bat, we can see that the Nothing Phone 2a tends to prefer a warmer white balance over the Pova 6 Pro's cooler one. The Nothing Phone 2a also produces more detailed shots with a lot more saturation, making the Pova 6 Pro appear less contrasty and somewhat more natural. And arguably, the Pova 6 Pro's 108-megapixel photos do appear more croppable and scalable after the fact compared to the Nothing Phone 2a's 50-megapixel shots. This could also be due to the Phone 2a's more aggressive HDR capturing, but either way, we can really see this in skin tones as well as red, green, and blue hues. The Nothing Phone 2a also performs better in less than favorable lighting conditions, and portrait shot cutouts can be hit or miss on both. Either way, none of them really produce colors very accurately to the eye, but both still produce very usable images. For video, with each phone's main rear cameras, the Nothing Phone 2a can record up to 4K at 30 frames per second, and the TECNO Pova 6 Pro can shoot up to 2K at 30 frames per second. In front, the 2a can record up to Full HD at 30 frames per second, while the 6 Pro can shoot at up to 2K at 30p. We also get more camera modes to play with in the TECNO Pova 6 Pro's camera app, like Sky Shop and dual video recording. Although, for the most part, in our opinion, videos shot by the Nothing Phone 2a look better with a more stable frame rate most of the time. So, what's the verdict here? I think this comes down to personal preference. With the Nothing Phone 2a, you get to take more detailed photos in auto mode. The images in general come out more vibrant with high contrast because of the aggressive HDR. Videos look better, but the lack of more camera modes might leave end users wanting more. The TECNO Pova 6 Pro takes good images for the sensors it's provided with. Colors look more natural or dull compared to the Phone 2a's, depending on your perspective. And it gets a cool sneaky LED flash for selfies, like over there. And it also gets more camera modes for end users to play with if ever they get bored. So I guess it's a tie. When it comes to battery, the Nothing Phone 2a packs a respectable 5,000 mAh battery with support for 45-watt wired charging, The brick does not come in the box, mind you. The TECNO Pova 6 Pro gets a bigger 6,000 milliamp hour battery that gets an even faster 70-watt hypercharge, and this time the charger does come in the box. We don't get any wireless charging on any of the two here. Kulang daw sa budget. And charging both devices from 0 to 100 takes less than an hour on the TECNO Pova 6 Pro and about an hour or more on the Nothing Phone 2A. In our PC Mark Work 3.0 battery testing, the Nothing Phone 2A garnered a result of 17 hours and 34 minutes, while the TECNO Pova 6 Pro scored 14 hours and 12 minutes. In our standard Yugatech video loop test, the Nothing Phone 2A lasted 35 hours, while the TECNO Pova 6 Pro resulted in 27 hours and 58 minutes. And in real-world use, both phones' batteries perform great. They both last very long, especially if you're someone who doesn't play a lot of games on their phone or use navigational apps all the time. I mean, the Nothing Phone 2A did get the better test results, which does add a spark to the classic debate of a longer-lasting battery result versus faster charging speeds. We can also infer that the Nothing Phone 2A's hardware and software is better optimized for battery efficiency in combination with the smaller capacity compared to the TECNO Pova 6 Pro's battery. So for me, it's a tie for battery. For data connectivity, both smartphones get support for 5G, and both phones get Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5.3, NFC, and GPS. It is worth mentioning that the Nothing Phone 2A does get support for Wi-Fi 6 out of the box. The Nothing Phone 2A also gets better IP certification at IP54 compared to the TECNO Pova 6 Pro's IP53 for dust and splash resistance, which means the Nothing Phone 2A gets resistance from water splashes from all directions compared to the Pova 6 Pro's up to 60 degrees vertical spray resistance. What the TECNO Pova 6 Pro does have over the Nothing Phone 2A is a nifty IR blaster here at the top, which allows users to use this device as a universal remote, a 3.5mm audio jack here at the bottom, which enables a wired connection to speakers, headphones, or anything alike, as well as FM radio. The Pova 6 Pro also gets a dedicated card slot for expandable storage. So for extra features, we definitely have to go with the TECNO Pova 6 Pro for more versatility. Oh, and by the way, for those of you wondering, the Nothing Phone 2A, in terms of software support, gets 3 years of major OS updates and 4 years of security patches, while TECNO hasn't actually officially disclosed the software lifecycle or support cycle for the TECNO Pova 6 Pro. Now, before we wrap this comparison up, we definitely need to address price. The Nothing Phone 2A offers compelling value with its premium features and competitive pricing. Starting at 18,990 pesos for the 8 plus 128GB configuration and 20,990 pesos for the 12 plus 256GB variant. On the other hand, the TECNO Pova 6 Pro presents itself as a budget-friendly alternative at 11,999 pesos. That's 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigabytes of internal storage, catering to price-conscious consumers with its decent performance and essential features. In conclusion, I think it's crazy how this TECNO Pova 6 Pro, which is basically half the price of the more expensive configuration of the Nothing Phone 2A, can hang with the likes of the latter. And again, half off! I mean, yes, the Nothing Phone 2A wins this comparison, bagging more wins across all the segments, but if you ask me, it just highlights how cost-efficient TECNO can get with less of a budget. Both the Nothing Phone 2A and the TECNO Pova 6 Pro offer commendable features and cater to distinct user preferences. While the Nothing Phone 2A excels in areas such as display and build quality, performance, and arguably camera capabilities, the TECNO Pova 6 Pro stands out with its affordability, unique design elements, and versatile features. Ultimately, the choice still depends on you. But hey, what do you guys think of the Nothing Phone 2A against the TECNO Pova 6 Pro? Let us know in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed this video or found it informative, or if it helped you make a purchasing decision, be sure to smack that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that bell icon so you get notified of our future uploads. Visit yugatech.com and follow us on our socials, that is Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok for the latest tech news and reviews. Once again, this has been Miguel, and this has been a comparison between the Nothing Phone 2A and the TECNO Pova 6 Pro. And I will see you in the next one.